Welcome to Think Big with Dan and Qasim. Join hosts Dan Melnick and Qasim Masood as they explore big ideas, limitless possibilities, and engage with visionaries, entrepreneurs, and thought leaders who dare to dream big, get inspired, motivated, and find practical tips for personal growth. Think big, dream bigger, and ignite your potential.
Welcome to Think Big with Dan and Qasim. If you want to go ahead and introduce yourself, tell us where you live and what you do for a living.
Yeah, so my name is Brynn Snyder. I'm from Spokane, Washington, and I make people's oral health achievable, having good oral health achievable. So we do that with the Slate electric flosser.
Awesome. So I'm just curious more about your background, like what made you get into this, or how did you even get the idea for this business?
So I'm a co-founder. So my other founder is a dentist. He's my husband, and he saw a need. So my background is I was an entrepreneur as a little kid. I started a business at 15 and I sold it when I was 24. And then I went to school for product design, and I did an internship with Johnson & Johnson in their medical division. And that's when I learned I loved making products that helped people's health. So I knew that. And then my husband was a dentist, and I was helping him run his dental practice. And we just saw, wow, people need help with their dental health. They're anxious at the dentist. What can we do to help them, I guess, be the heroes of their oral health and take charge of their oral health? So that's when we decided, we all know we need to floss, but let's make a product that makes people actually floss.
That's true. Yeah, there's a lot of products out there, but many people don't use them frequently, or they don't use them properly, which is also a huge problem. So I guess I'm curious.
Yeah.
Obviously, your husband's a dentist, so it totally makes sense. And is that kind of how you got started, right? Like, did you go in the dental clinic and have people test it out? Like, how did you actually go about taking your idea and your product and bring it to market?
Yeah. So one day, Dr. Snyder was flossing at the house, and he was like, there has to be a better way. Like, this is why people aren't flossing. String floss is hard. It's hard to get back there if you have bigger hands. And as you get older, it's hard, and little kids can't do it. And so then he was like, oh my gosh, we have what's called a reach flosser, and it's just a string manual one. And he was like, what if I made this have vibrations? And I was like, that's really cool. But they made one already 20 years ago and it didn't do anything. And he's like, why? So we thought a little bit more, and he was like, the C shape is something that hygienists tell their patients to do, but it's really technical. And he was like, what if I could make that technique of flossing not matter? And so that's when he designed the gum sweeps that are on our product. They are little triangle things on the side of the floss, and they go into where the teeth and the gums meet, and they stimulate the gums, making the plaque and bacteria. So he was like, okay. So what he did actually is he made some 3D models that were bigger, and he was like, would this work? How would it work? And then he talked with all of his hygienists about it, and they were like, yeah, I think that'll be good. So the problem is our product is so specific and so little. We actually had to make a mold to make sure, we had designed it on the computer, but you can't really make a prototype of it very well. And so we just made the mold, and it worked so well, and we were so excited.
So I guess I'm curious, I see the product, right? And it's sort of a higher level of the floss pick. So how exactly does it work in terms of compared to a floss pick, for example? How does the electric component actually add value?
Yeah. So do you use an electric toothbrush?
Yes.
Okay. So it's kind of a little bit similar to that. The thing that makes our product special, though, is actually our gum sweeps. The sonic vibrations make a huge difference because they help stimulate the gums and bring blood flow and disrupt the plaque and the biofilm. So the sonic vibrations are totally necessary. But the part that makes our product special is the gum sweeps. They do that hard, the technical thing. And so if you just went up and down with your floss pick, you're not doing half of the job. I don't know if you knew this, but 50% of Americans have gum disease. And
that sounds about right, yeah.
Gum disease is from not having enough gum stimulation or disrupting the plaque and biofilm. That's, getting under there. So the only way to get rid of gum disease is through at-home care. And so he was like, okay, we got to design something that does that C shape, but it's very easy. So a 5-year-old can do it and a 90-year-old can do it. If you have a disability or your hands shake, you're able to still do the technique right.
Makes sense. So obviously, like it's one thing, especially like in the very beginning, to like test this product or sell your product in your practice. But how did you guys grow from that point? So like, and I guess I'm curious, like, what does the business look like today? Is it mostly direct to consumer,
Yeah.
retail, Amazon? Yeah.
So when we started, we had the goal to do just 3 channels, I guess, to start. And that's direct to consumer through our own website, then Amazon and dentists, because being backed by dental professionals is extremely important to us. So we said, okay, let's try and see what works. So, it's crazy. Like last January, so not this year, but the year before was our first January ever. And I think we made $7,000 that month. Whereas this January, we were able to do over 200,000. And so the growth was because we were able to really hone in on these different channels and figure out what works and what doesn't work. I think also once someone uses our product, they see how easy it is, and then they share through word of mouth. So we focus on Google ads, Meta ads, and then going to dental trade shows, working with dental professionals, having it peer reviewed by dentists, having hygienists try it out.
Yeah, that's interesting. I think it's like, it was funny. I was talking to somebody else like in the space and also a dentist selling a different product. And I think there was definitely a challenge. And she was saying that like a lot of dentists aren't necessarily like actively selling products or selling lots of products. So how do you, work with your dentists or dental partners to, and then not only educate them, but actually like push them to sell the product, because it's not like they're just there to make money. Like it's actually helping their patients.
Yeah, so that's the thing is dentists actually hate selling things. If you find a normal dentist, selling is their worst skill. But if they know that it will improve their patient's health, then they will tell their patients. And so for us, we have a lot of like periodontists, general dentists, orthodontists who recommend our product. If they are more business savvy, then they'll sell it in their office. If they're not, then they just say, oh, go to this website and buy this product. So, we knew that because my husband's a dentist and he
Right,
hates
right.
selling stuff, and the margins aren't very good for dentists. Like it's better for the dentist to tell you to go to Costco and buy a Sonicare toothbrush than to buy it at their office, because they're not really making any money off the sale anyways.
Yeah, I got a dentist, and that's what he did. He just go to Costco and buy that toothbrush. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And so knowing that, we were like, okay, we need dentists to tell their patients about it, but it might not be where they buy it. But we do have wholesale discounts for dentists. But that is a much slower long-term game than D2C.
Right. What about retail? What does that look like?
Yeah, so we don't do any retail right now. Our goal is to be in retail in 2026. We'd love to be in places like Target, Walmart, Sephora, Costco. We're from Washington State, so we love Costco, but we have to make sure that our customers and consumers are looking for us at those places. Like right now, as I am a mom of 5, it's like buying something on Amazon makes it super easy. Buying stuff on a website, knowing that it's free shipping and 30 free day like return policy. I like as a mom, I'm like, yeah, I'll try out those products. I knew I didn't want people to have to pay for shipping, and I knew I wanted them to be able to return it. So that's what we do on our website.
So do you sell like on Amazon? So you wasn't only 100% D2C.
No, we do Amazon, and we actually got hacked in August. We couldn't run Meta ads. And so because of that, we started Amazon, and we are really glad that we started Amazon. Amazon's growth it's been really fun to watch it grow. We're almost at par. Our Amazon is almost at par with our website. So
That's awesome. So obviously nowadays, many companies are using like high level technology, so just AI. So do you guys currently use AI? And if not, like where do you think that it can come in and add more value?
yeah, so we do and we don't. So something about me, I'm dyslexic, so my writing skills sometimes are not the best. So sometimes I will like check my email. If I'm sending an important email, I'll just make sure it's good and I'll put it in chat GBT. But what we learned is at first we were using it, but it wasn't giving the patients or customers the education we wanted. And so in a writing format, we don't use AI really, but we do use AI in some of our apps that we use on Shopify. So I think we use Stay AI for subscriptions, and we use Black Crow for email like it helps with email. So we use a few different softwares in our Shopify that help with that. But education is one of our main pillars of Slate. And so with that, we don't use AI because we need it to be actually correct.
Hey y'all, it's Dan Melnick, the CEO of Zing, and I wanted to share a special offer for all of our listeners. Right now, if you need software development services, we'll give you 2 weeks of a free trial. Do you need to update your website? Do you want to build a mobile app? Do you want to update something that you've been working on for a long time? We've worked in a high-level technologies like AI, machine learning, blockchain. So shoot me a text, 817-874-2208. Thank you.
Right. But you do some AI, I see, for like, customer service. You have like the preloaded questions that people might have about your products.
Oh, yeah. It's so helpful to have those because, every month we'll do a customer service meeting and she's like, okay, this question's always being asked. So then we add that to our website. And then we also can learn so much about the customer journey because we use like heat mapping and different things on our website. But when we ask the customers, how did you hear about us? Or those things, those are actually so helpful, or why people are going to cancel a subscription, because they have too many. Well, we need to change the length. Or is it because they don't like the product? Like usually it's not about the product. It's about like the way people use something. So AI is so helpful to learn people's use.
For sure. So like you mentioned, obviously now that you're not focused on retail for 24 or not until 26, actually. So
well,
I guess
retail usually takes a whole year to get into. So if we pitch it in
true.
25, then we're in 26.
Makes sense. So I guess I'm just curious, right? Because we're about halfway into 2024. Like, what is your main focus for the rest of this year to be successful for you?
Yeah, so we are so excited, making sure hygienists and dentists know we exist. So we're going to 2 more dental trade shows, and then also just growing on D2C and Amazon. Our goal was to grow about 10% a month since we don't really have a calendar year to know like what is typical, like what are good months, what aren't. We just said we'd like to do 10% growth every single month, but we've actually exceeded that almost every single month, and it's been really fun. This month we're up 30% instead of 10. So it's exciting, but it's also like supply chain. How do we get more product here faster?
Do you manufacture here in the States, or where do you guys manufacture?
No, so we have 2 manufacturing places, one in the Philippines and one in China. So
awesome. So no, yeah, I mean that makes sense. You definitely have to plan ahead with those products.
Yeah, I think that's the hardest part about consumer product goods is you have to make a forecast and hope that you didn't buy too much or not enough, and we just get to play the game.
For sure. So what would you say is like the one biggest piece of advice that you wish you knew before you started this business?
I think ads cost a lot more than I would have thought. And so if you can, it's like make sure you always have enough money, budget correctly. I think a lot, like our product is a game changer, but if you don't have the money to support your product, then your company will die. And so being very careful on how you're spending your funds. And so that, or maybe I would just say we try a lot of things, and if it doesn't work, then we change and we try something new. So those are my 2 bits of advice. Make sure you have enough money and try new things.
Yeah, iteration is critical, and for sure, like the cash flow, especially in CPG, as you said, right? Like it's a very capital intensive business. I mean, very capital intensive. So yes, that's very good advice. So if we're going to have this conversation again in 1 year from now, where do you see things going for your business?
Well, I'm so excited. The thing is our possibilities are almost endless. I feel like I would like to have grown 3x at least. And I want to see that we've helped people achieve ideal oral health, because that's our goal, is how do we get people to use our product and make it change their life?
That's amazing. So if somebody watching this wanted to reach out to you, do you mind sharing your website?
Oh,
your
yeah.
social media, I guess, best ways to get in contact?
So you can find me at slateflosser.com, or our Instagram handle is slateflosser. Personally, my Instagram is Brynn Snyder, and you can find me on LinkedIn too.
Awesome. Well, Brynn, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Of course. Thank you. All right. Bye.
Bye.